Card Player recently released a brand new 7-card stud odds calculator, which you can find on the top right hand corner of cardplayer.com. Stud used to be the poker game and has seen a resurgence in popularity in recent years, but a lot of players who have only known Hold'em might not be familiar with just how differently certain hands perform in Stud. Card Player TV spoke with mixed game specialist David Bakes Baker about some common situations in Stud where the odds differ from Hold'em.
Well, a lot of Hold'em players are used to a pair over pair situation where the over pair has about 80% equity and the lower pair has 20%, and in Stud that's a lot different. But a lot of the first thing that the Hold'em players are going to want to consider is your third card, because it makes a big difference on your equity in the hand. But you're still going to be doing better with a pair that's lower than another pair regardless of that card. But having the card, especially if it's higher than your opponent's likely pair, then it's going to make a big difference. So in the first example we have a pair of jacks with a 10 kicker going up against a pair of 4s with a 5 kicker. In that situation, the pair of 4s is going to be 38% rather than 20%. So you're already doing much better. If you change your kicker to an ace instead of a 5, you'll gain a full 4 points of equity. So a hand that was already doing much better than would in a Hold'em situation is almost a coin flip in that spot with an ace kicker.
Another important difference is that in Stud, you have a lot more information regarding the dead up cards that other players fold. We asked Baker how this extra information affects the odds in Stud.
Well, in Hold'em, since especially in tournament Hold'em, most of the situations are resolved before there's even a flop, so you really don't see any cards. In 7-card Stud, as soon as the hand is dealt, assuming a seven-handed table, you'll have 7 up cards to worry about, and that's referred to as the board in 7-card Stud. So the first thing that you should be doing if you're starting to play 7-card Stud is look at the 7 cards and try to remember what they are. I mean, you can start counting up low to high, high to low, anything that helps you remember them, because those cards can make a big difference in your equity in the hand, especially once you get to 4th Street. And a good way to start learning that equity is with a flush draw. If you're holding a 3-card flush on 3rd and you improve to a 4-card flush on 4th, you're usually doing pretty well, but your equity can change drastically depending on the amount of dead cards there are. So if you can remember how many hearts were dead on 3rd, for instance, you'll have a big advantage when continuing the hand. As we can see in this example, a 4 flush on 4th is actually a favorite over a pair of aces. But this is assuming that there were no hearts folded on 3rd or 4th Street. If there's 4 dead hearts, he'll actually be a 60-40 dog. And this difference is even more pronounced when there are more players in the pot. So if you have a multi-way pot, it's even more important to know how many of your hearts are dead. In the next example, we have a 4 straight on 4th up against a pair of kings and a pair of 9s. And with no dead cards, it has 42% equity in the pot, so even more than the pair of 9s, even though the pair of 9s is technically a better made hand at this point. But as you start killing the dead cards, for example, if there were 2 8s and 2 4s folded on 3rd Street, then the equity goes all the way down to 34%. A straight draw with no dead cards is a very powerful hand, as you can see from these examples, and has a huge share of the pot equity, good enough to keep raising as long as you know that all your cards are live and you know the probable hands that you're up against. Knowing the dead cards is a crucial element to playing your draws well in Stud poker.
Thanks again to David Baker for helping us explore the odds in 7-card Stud. Make sure to check out the new Card Player 7-card Stud odds calculator, and also make sure to stay tuned for more poker strategy videos right here on Card Player TV.